If Ukraine uses American weapons systems such as MLRS M270 or M142 HIMARS rocket artillery, to attack deep into Russian territory, the scale of the Russian-Ukrainian war will expand, World War III may break out. This is the view of Sevim Dagdelen, a member of Germany's Bundestag with the Left Party, said. Recently, the US has handed over to Ukraine 8 mobile launchers M142 HIMARS, and multiple rocket launchers MLRS M270. According to the plan, there will be 4 more M142 HIMARS complexes that will be delivered to Kiev. Faced with Russia's tough warnings on the matter, US Deputy Defense Secretary Colin Kahl said on June 1 that Ukrainian authorities, including President Vladimir Zelensky, had committed not to use HIMARS for attacks deep into Russian territory. Commenting on this, Sevim Dagdelen said that the continued US supply of heavy weapons to Ukraine increases the risk of a war between NATO and Russia, with unpredictable consequences for Europe. She stressed that sending more and more heavy weapons and training the Ukrainian army increases the risk of a Third World War. And warnings about this risk are not superfluous. Recently, the spokesman of the intelligence service of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Vadim Skibitsky, stated that Kiev can use the US M270 and M142 HIMARS multiple launch rocket systems to strike Crimea and targets in Russia's Black Sea Fleet. According to Ms. Dagdelen, if the Crimean Peninsula or the Kerch Bridge were attacked, it was American weapons that made the Russian-Ukrainian conflict escalate to a new level, and even expand, when it provoked an all-out war between Russia and NATO. The German parliamentarian emphasized that the goal of the US and its allies is to weaken Russia in the long term. And to achieve this, the West is ready to accept tens of thousands of deaths and endless suffering, as well as the devastation of Ukraine. Washington is ready to fight to the last Ukrainian, for the sake of defeating and destroying Russia, but the interests of the US and Europe are different. The EU has always been the one that suffers the most in the war against Russia. In fact, Europe is bearing many risks from Russia sanctions. EU countries are going through a difficult period. The German parliamentarian emphasized that, according to the estimates of economic experts, if the gas supply from the Russian Federation is cut off, German production will decrease by more than 12% in the next 6 months, and more than 5.6 million jobs would be at risk. Dagdelen called NATO the largest military machine in the world, and called for the creation of a new security architecture in Europe, that includes all EU countries and including Russia, to reduce dependence on the military alliance, was dominated by the United States. She said that guns cannot be a miracle stick to quell the Russia-Ukraine war, and serious diplomatic measures are needed to resolve the situation in Donbass and the conflict in Ukraine. If no, World War III might actually break out.